Hey everybody, this is Sherry
And Dale.
and welcome to Green Nurse Radio Show. It is Wednesday, September 19th, and we have a very special show for you tonight. We have a couple of guests, we have a lot of material to cover, 2018 Freedom Rally, we have a couple of sponsors. I'm losing my earpiece. But anyways, we have in the studio Todd Hodges, who is a grower and a caregiver for over 48 years. He goes with a persona of, I'm going to say,
Dr. Puffinstuff.
Dr. Puffinstuff.
But I am not a physician.
But he's
Yeah.
not a doctor. But he
And-
brought along
El
El
Dago.
Dago.
the best medicine.
Yes,
El
El Dago, the
Dago.
great New England cannabis hound.
Yeah. And we're going to talk a little bit about Green Nurse on the Go, but we want to start off with our first guest because she's really taken the time out of her day to call in and to be with us. Her name is Sue Carroll. She's a nun. She's a chemistry teacher for over 32 years. She's retired. She has her PhD from Boston College. She has a very serious condition called complex regional pain syndrome. And she's going to share with us how cannabis is helping her live her best life. So Sue, you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Thanks for calling in, Sue. We really appreciate
Oh,
it.
I'm very happy.
We're
I'm
very
hoping
excited.
if I could help one person as much as you have helped me, I'll be grateful.
Oh.
So, Sue, you are the least likely person ever, for
Besides
someone
you.
besides me, that would use cannabis.
I think that's true.
Yeah. So let's
Yeah.
talk about that.
I'm just going to make a little joke. What would Jesus say?
He would say, go ahead. If this is something that helps, this is something that I created, so go ahead and use it.
There you go.
I think a lot of people would agree with you, Sue.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
But unfortunately, a lot of people disagree with me, too. So
Yeah.
those are the ones I'm trying to encourage to agree with us on this.
Yeah, yeah. So you have quite a story, and basically, there's a lot to cover. So why don't we just start with what is complex regional pain syndrome, and we'll kind of start from there. People need to understand that you've been suffering, and how bad it's been.
And
Because
so tell us about that. What was it like to have?
when you got that diagnosis, and what you've done, and what led you to cannabis.
All right. When I first got the diagnosis, I had it in my right arm because I had fallen, and instead of letting myself go, I grabbed the mantle, so my arm rotated, and I broke my arm, dislocated my shoulder, did a great deal of damage to the nerve junction. And then when that healed, for some reason, I had these other very, very strange symptoms. And fortunately, I was going to a rheumatologist who very quickly recognized it as complex regional pain syndrome. So that was in my right arm, and so that was all right, and we dealt with that. And then about a year after that, I had a stroke, and prior to this, I had been diagnosed with MS, so I was on some very strong medication. And when I had my stroke, my husband asked the doctor on the day that I usually gave myself my injection, what should we do about her Avonex? And he said, what's she taking that for? And the doctor and my husband said, for her MS. And the doctor at Mass General said, what MS? She doesn't have MS.
Wow.
So it turns out that I had been treating myself for 5 years for
With-
MS, which I did not have. The good news is I don't have MS.
Thank God.
But after I had my stroke, when I first came out of it, the pain in my arm was gone, so I thought I had been cured. Well, unfortunately, very shortly after that, it returned, and it just got excruciating. And for people who have never heard of complex regional pain syndrome, it causes things like burning pain. It almost feels like you're being electrocuted. You have muscle spasms, hypersensitivity to touch and to temperature. Your arm or whatever your affected region is actually changes color, has different temperatures. Sometimes it's freezing cold, other times it's burning hot.
Wow.
So I went on with that and had various treatments, including I had a neurotransmitter implanted
Yep. And so for people that don't understand what that is, can you just kind of explain? You have an implant in your body that.
Yes, I do, and the wires go to my spine, and they are it's attached so that it controls the region of my brain that believes that I have pain in my arm.
Wow.
And so that was implanted in 2005, and then it went along pretty well. You know, I mean, I say pretty well, but I've been on fentanyl, I think, since about, you know, shortly after I broke my arm, had damaged my arm. I've been on fentanyl. I've been on gabapentin. I am still on very heavy doses of both of those. And so that went along, and then in 2012, unfortunately, RSD can travel,
Yes.
which is just another name for complex regional pain syndrome, and it traveled so that all 4 of my limbs are affected, and that had several. Obviously, the pain is excruciating, and what happened was when my neurotransmitter was just controlling one limb, I got pretty good relief. But when they had to reset it so that it covered all 4 limbs, then the relief that I was getting was nowhere near the same. And so they just kept increasing my doses of fentanyl, my doses of gabapentin, and it still did not take the pain away.
Yeah, Sue. So when we talked before, and we were talking about what was your quality of life like at that point, you know. So before you came, you know, to the place of deciding to use cannabis. Prior to that, at the point,
What did a day look like? What did it feel like?
Yeah, how psychosocial, spiritual, how were you feeling physically, emotionally, mentally? How was your social life, and how did it affect your spirituality? Because that's a very important part of your life as well.
Yes, and I will say that I am no longer a nun. I left the convent, and I'm now married and have 2 children. But I was at the point where the pain was so debilitating that I would get up every morning. I go to daily mass. I'm still very, very, very religious, very involved with my church. I go to mass every morning, so I get up at 6:30. I go to church. I actually set up the altar for mass. Then I lead whoever's there in the rosary. After mass, I put everything away. I clean up from mass. I come home. I usually get home about 9 o'clock, and at that point I could stay up till maybe noontime. So what I would do is I would rush around, try to do every single thing that I had to do, house cleaning, you know, laundry, whatever, by noontime. And some days it was absolutely almost impossible to even stay up till noontime. I was at the point where I would watch the clock, because emotionally I kept thinking, as long as I don't go back to bed in the morning, then I've had a successful day. And I finally was at the point that for every 2 hours that I was in bed, I would like earn an hour up.
Yeah.
So
that's what they call.
my whole
Go ahead.
my whole clock was reversed. Instead of being in bed for 8 hours a day, I was spending 16 hours a day in bed.
Yeah. Wow.
And the only good thing is that I have developed the ability to knit in bed. And so what I would do, matter of fact, I'm still working on one now. I started a prayer shawl ministry in my parish so that whenever anyone is seriously ill, I make them a prayer shawl that the priest blesses and then gives to them.
Oh.
And then I also knit for We Care Nursery up in Albany. I make hats, sweaters, and blankets for newborns in the Albany area.
That's so sweet.
I just did anything that I could to feel like I was doing something worthwhile.
Oh man.
You know, I would feel that if I could do something for somebody else, that all this pain and suffering was not wasted.
And remember, we were talking at a few times in our conversations that we've had, Sue, is that we've talked about, you know, how this impacted your quality of life. You know, this disease really, you know, not, you know, besides, you know, constantly having to take medications and your disease was your life. And how did
And actually, it became my family's life as well,
Right.
because when you can only stay up until noontime, not many family activities take place in the morning.
Yeah.
Like weddings now are all in the afternoon. People get together and go out at dinner time. They don't do anything at 10 o'clock in the morning.
yeah.
So, this is a disease that affected my husband as much as it affected me. We are both retired, and we should be at a position where we could, go places and do things, and I can't do that. Very, very difficult to go anywhere and be sociable when you're in constant pain.
Yeah. You want to be alone.
And
Yeah.
Yeah, you become
Oh,
very
yeah,
isolated. It's hard
I
to
didn't wanna
fake
go-
feeling good, right?
Yes, I didn't want to go anywhere or do anything because I just couldn't even. I got to the point where it was almost impossible to pretend that everything was okay, and then I would feel like I was being fake and unrealistic. I was acting like isn't everything great when everything is not great.
Yeah.
So I was at the point where I preferred to just stay home, and I would say to my husband, "You go ahead." Many family weddings he went to by himself because I could not go.
Right.
And
But
family's really important to you.
very important.
Oh, I have 9 siblings, so
Yeah.
and I have 20 nieces and nephews, so
Yeah.
you can imagine how many things go on.
Right.
And we were always a very, very close-knit family. Family was extremely important to us, and I just could not. I'm from out of town, I don't live near my family, so by the time I would get to Pittsfield, which is where most of my family lives, I would be exhausted from the ride, because to ride in the car, it was like every bump we went over
Hurt.
just
Yeah.
elevated my pain level. So even if I left here feeling not too bad, by the time I got there, the pain was out of control.
Right.
So
Every bump, every corner, I would shudder just seeing it coming. It's really just hard to describe.
yeah.
People cannot believe that you could be in this much pain and be functioning at all.
right.
Yep.
And
So-
when you try to explain RSD, I start to talk about the receptors in your brain, and they say, "Oh, so it's all in your head."
Yeah. They always want to make us crazy,
Right.
right?
So
There's a big difference between being, your brain that's affected and being all in your head.
Yes,
Right.
I totally agree. I
Yeah.
can identify with that because I've experienced it myself.
Yeah.
So what brought you to cannabis? How did that conversation even come up? Did someone suggest you try it, or what happened?
I have brothers who suggested a long time ago that this was going to be the solution to my pain, but I just couldn't get over the stigma that's attached to it, to tell you the truth. And my other problem is I love my primary care physician dearly, but he actually is as much like a priest as he is a doctor.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even bring it up to him. As more and more people suggested that this is something I should try, I kept thinking, how can I possibly bring this up to my doctor? But
Yeah.
fortunately, my doctor is a caring, loving, dedicated person, and he finally said to me, he suggested that I go through the process of getting my card, and he finally said to me, and I will never forget this. He said, I would be failing in my responsibility as your physician if I thought there was something that could help you, and I didn't suggest it to you.
That's a
Yeah.
great provider.
And that's a very good doctor.
Yeah.
Very good doctor.
And did he educate
Absolutely.
you? Did he teach you how to use it? Or
No, and he's near retirement, and what he said to me, he said, I can go through the certification process, but beyond that, I can't really help you. So what happened is I got my card, and somebody had suggested, well, you can get gummies. So I stopped at a dispensary, and I started to tell them a little bit about my condition, and they just kind of shrugged their shoulders. And so finally, I asked for the smallest packet of the lowest dose gummies that they had, And then I got home with them. I had no idea what to even do. So they sat in my refrigerator, and I did nothing with them. And finally, I was talking to one of my sisters on the phone, and she said, "Oh, let me." Her son is involved with the cannabis movement.
Yes, Sean
And so she
Curley.
said-
Sensi
right. So
Magazine.
she said, "Let me."
Yep.
She said, let me talk to Sean, and maybe he can help you out." So he is the one, thank God, who said to me, "I know this group of nurses, and I really think they could help you." So I said, at this point, I'm going to try anything at all, because the last doctor I went to said to me, he said they thought that I might have another condition, proximal myopathy, which is the degeneration of your muscles.
Oh, wow.
So I went to several doctors, and finally, the last doctor said, he said, the tests have been inconclusive, and he said it makes no sense to do any more tests because there's nothing else we can do for you anyway.
Wow.
He said your doctors are already doing everything that can possibly be done. I've been to Brigham and Women's. Matter of fact, my doctor is head of the pain clinic there,
Yeah.
and he said they have already done everything that they can do for you. So
Well,
they said basically go home, and this is the best we can do.
and then
so
we
I was
started your
absolutely-
cannabis journey. Then we started cannabis. And what has
Thank
happened?
goodness we did.
So we did the
I can't
consultation, right? And I started teaching you, and we started working together.
Mhm.
And what happened?
I cannot even, I would never have believed that this was possible, the change that has occurred. And I will give you an example. This past weekend, one of my nieces was married in Pittsfield, and she's a favorite niece of mine. I shouldn't say that, but she is, and she knows it. And I was desperate to go to her wedding, and I never thought this would happen. I actually, not only did I go to her wedding, I was still there at 9 o'clock at night, and the first time in probably 20 years, I actually danced with my husband.
Oh my God, you're gonna make me cry. I cry every show. There it is. There comes the tears.
I can't even describe what that feeling was like, to be able to enjoy my family.
Yeah.
I actually sat at the table. I went from table to table. I haven't seen some of them in such a long time. It was just, I can't even tell you what it did for me.
Oh my God, that's so wonderful. I remember another funny story. So is I remember when we had a call, and you didn't call me back until later, and you go, "Oh God, I'm so sorry. I was out with my husband having dinner." I was like,
Yes.
"Don't ever worry about calling me back if you're out having dinner with your husband." Do you know how excited I was to hear that? Right?
Well, do you know how excited my husband was that we actually now can go out to dinner?
Wow, that's
Oh, so
unbelievable.
nice.
As I said, who goes out? You can go out. Who goes out to lunch? It's not a big deal. People get together. Matter of fact, tomorrow night we're getting together with 2 other couples. We have not done this in the longest time because how I felt was so unpredictable. He has actually made plans, and we have a reservation at a local restaurant to go out to dinner. I am so looking forward to it.
Oh, that's
I know,
great.
because I know that doing what I'm doing, I will be able to go, because it seems to be so. I cannot believe the difference it has made in my life.
Yeah.
The other
Go ahead.
day, I was out in the garden, and all of a sudden I looked down, and it was 2 o'clock, and I thought, "Oh my God, it's 2 o'clock, and I'm not in bed."
See, isn't that wonderful?
That's fantastic.
and
It's so
you-
good to hear.
And you're doing more of the things that you love to do. You're reconnecting with your family. So healing,
Quality of life.
right? Quality of
Yeah.
life. Remember we talked about your pain. So, all the medications that you were on when you started cannabis, you rated your pain an 8 or a 9 out of a 10. And I know that was much worse than that. And you said your pain has gotten down to a 3.
And really, even sometimes it's less than that. I mean, for the first time in a long time, I had periods during the day when I forget that I'm in constant pain.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
just this feeling, I can't even tell you what it does to me. And people look at me, all they have to do is look at me, and they say, "Oh my God, you look great." And I think I must have been really looking bad before. They just said it's something about your expression, and I know what it was. It's not that awful, like the grimace that you have when you're in pain.
Well, because what it is how I like to describe it from my own experience is that the pain isn't glaring. You're not vomiting pain. It becomes background noise, right? So I still have pain in the background, but the cannabis has made it tolerable, so I'm able to live my life.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what a lot of
I
patients
just
talk about.
cannot believe this, and I will say I am still at the lowest dose that you suggested to me.
Yep. And you're taking, and I'm not gonna lie, you're taking. Can I share with them what you're taking?
Absolutely.
Okay, you're taking full spectrum CBD oil, THCA oil, and you're taking a little tiny bit of full extract cannabis oil.
So remember, the THCA and the CBD are non-intoxicating.
Yep.
And
And
they
then
can
the
balance.
and then the THC that you take at bedtime, so you get that therapeutic medicinal effect that you need, and it continues to work in the daytime. So you're not taking a lot of medicine, but what you are taking is working to bridge the gap from what you're not getting from the traditional medicines. And we have the maker of one of your medicines on the show tonight. I know you can't see him, but hopefully I'm going to get that video to you. His name is Todd Hodges, and we're going to, before we clip over to him, I just wanted to ask you another question about what do you feel is most important for people to know if they want to explore cannabis as an option?
They need to understand that it's a very, very simple process. You know, a few little drops under your tongue. What could be easier than that?
There you go.
Yeah.
And I just want to say that my goal is to obviously try to, decrease my dependence on fentanyl.
Yep, yep. And we work together with that. Your doctor takes care of that, and we tweak your cannabis as needed. So we will definitely be taking care of that. Dale and I are on that for you.
And I also want you to know, for the first time in a long time, I have hope, which I had, I had never lost my faith. I am a very strong Catholic. I practice my faith on a daily basis, but I was losing hope that anything could be better. When a doctor at Brigham and Women's says to you, you know what, there's absolutely nothing else we can do for you.
Oof.
Like go home and live your life. I think go home and live my life. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I know, I hear you. So this is, and I'm hoping that this has been helpful for you, because this is part of what we're doing here on Green Nurse Radio, is we're bringing patient stories to the forefront, right? Which we're hoping is going to help your healing process, and as you were sharing, but also people that are listening. We want to bring more hope to people.
And that's one of the biggest things that patients say, a lot of them at the end of the visit, that we give them hope.
Yeah.
And so that's really a big thing. I'm glad you brought that up, Sue.
Yeah. So
And
Sue.
you have given me that, and I will be eternally grateful.
Oh, honey, thank you so much.
And thank you so much for calling in.
Yeah,
this
that
has
was
been
wonderful. And we'll touch base in the next day or so, okay? And
Yes,
before we
and as I said,
go ahead.
if I could help one person to realize that this is doable and manageable and make such a huge difference in your life, then I would be happy to have shared my story.
great. And you will.
You will.
Yeah.
Thank you, sweetheart. You can hang
Well,
on the
thank you for
line. You can
everything.
hang on the line and listen, or you can hang up. So it's up to you. I just wanted to, and just very grateful that you took the time, to share, because your story is very important.
Oh, yeah.
What we want to do is we continue to advocate. We want to educate. We want to reduce stigma, and really, bring this to the forefront that it is a tool and an option for helping people to live their best life. So before we get to Todd, we're going to talk a little bit about Green Nurse on the Go and this weekend. What do you think? Poor Dale. Poor Dale doesn't have much to say. So you know what that means? That means the Sherry gets to, right? I know. I'm sorry.
I was home working.
I won't go like this, though. It could be worse. So, Green Nurse on the Go. Dale is doing her PhD, and she'll be finished in December. And we'll see more of Dale out in the community. I promise you. But for now, it's me. Basically, Green Nurse on the Go is what we're doing is we're bringing community together for education, for advocacy, and for activism. And what we're doing is we're connecting people to information that they may not get elsewhere or have access to. And we're bringing patient stories. You know, we're going out into the community and we're interviewing, and we're talking to patients that want to share their stories as a part of their healing, which also, like I said before, is very helpful and brings hopes to others that are listening. So the Freedom Rally, I have to tell you, I'm a free spirit, and I had a really great time. I was in Educational Village. I want to thank Sensi Magazine from the bottom of my heart for allowing me to be part of their table. They sponsored me. Basically, Cannabis Radio Network was there all weekend long. We had Donald from the Barrett Report. His show is on every Sunday night from 8 to 9 p.m. live. And he was there doing interviews, and Jake from Your Average Joe Grow.
Tuesday night at 7.
Yep, and he was there, and then I was there as well. And basically, what I ended up doing was I was speaking to a lot of different people. People were coming to me. I was gathering information and really advocating for cannabis as a tool for wellness and optimal health. And we have a fun little video, hopefully, that the guys are going to get ready to put up. It's basically a video Freedom Rally. Well, the montage was the pre-show, but the video is the picture slideshow of all the people that I interacted with and hung out with during the daytime. The pre-show actually has some of the interviews that I did. So as soon as that's ready, we can put that up.
Welcome back.
And here we are. Wasn't that a fun video? At the end of the show, we have the After Freedom Rally slideshow.
That's the fun part that I missed.
I know, and it was really fun. We had a great time. I had an opportunity to speak on WEMF, and so we'll show that later. But right now, we are here in the studio with Mr. Todd Hodges, Senor Puffin Stuff with El Doggo.
El Doggo.
Yes.
Senor Puffin Stuff.
So Todd, you've been in the cannabis industry fields for over 48 years.
Mm-hmm. First started smoking cannabis in 1974.
Wow.
I was 15 years old. I was a very depressed young man. And the first time that I got a buzz off of cannabis, I took a big bong rip. And it felt like somebody poured warm Jell-O over my head. And it was wonderful. And it's been a lifelong thing since.
Yeah. We were talking about,
Yeah.
we were
So we were
some of
talking
the
about the health conditions and how you're using cannabis to treat those conditions, because this is interesting, because we haven't heard really that much about it, about the about diabetes and people treating.
Well,
Yeah, your medical conditions besides, like right now. Like
I
what
was
else?
a very heavy drinker at one time, and going through a divorce. And the children come to the house one day, and they said, "Dad, you look like Bart Simpson. You're yellow. Your eyes are yellow. We're taking you to the hospital." So we went to the hospital. I had jaundice, and they started hitting me with insulin because I had a 600 sugar count. And 3 days later, I walked out of that hospital 200 pounds, drunk, diabetic, insulin shooting diabetic.
Wow.
And, you know, I'd drink and I'd compensate with insulin, and I'd eat and I'd compensate with insulin. I'd drink and I'd compensate with insulin.
You were a big fat alcoholic.
Oh, big fat drunk. Big
Sorry.
fat drunk. It wasn't just beer. It was, I would take Jack Daniels, fill my mouth as full as I could with it, and chase it down with beer. I was really bad. Divorce was very hard on me. I lost everything. But after I come out as a diabetic, the doctor told me, he says, you got to do two things. You got to lose weight and you got to quit drinking. And he didn't think I'd do either one.
Mm-hmm.
But along the line, I got interested in cannabis as a treatment for this. And I knew this guy named Cookie. And Cookie was making FECO.
Full extract cannabis oil.
Right.
And
And Cookie said, you know, this would really help you. He says, I'll teach you to make it. Make it yourself. You don't need to have me. So I did. I made it myself. And I lost 60 pounds. I quit drinking. And I took FECO. And taking FECO didn't take my diabetes away. The combination of loss of weight, quitting drinking, and the cannabis did it.
Yeah.
It was a three-way street right there.
so now you're not on insulin.
No, I haven't had
So you got
insulin.
off insulin.
I'm off and metformin. I take no diabetic medications. My doctor, I saw him yesterday. They took my blood. They're checking it again. We do it every 90 days. And
Wow.
he told me, he says, you know how lucky you are? He says, you're one of just a handful of patients that I've had in my life that got off of being a full-fledged insulin-shooting diabetic to not taking any medications. And I showed him my FECO. And I told him about it.
And what did he say?
Well, he didn't really think that it would do the things that I said that it has done.
Right.
However, he did not argue with me, and he said, is it helping you? And I said, you know, Dr. Dalla, you diagnosed my COPD. It's gotten to the point where I can breathe so good that I picked up tobacco again.
Oh
Todd.
my God.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, so anyway, there's a testament to you kids out there. COPD reduces the inflammation in the lungs, and some of the greatest success stories that I have are with COPD patients. One in particular, Mr.
Yeah, tell
B
us.
in Utah.
Mr. B?
Mr. B in Utah, dear friend, childhood friend, giving my first cigarette when I was 8.
Wow.
And that's what we had. We were young kids in a real small farm town. Mr. B showed me my first Playboy. I never recovered for days. You know, there was a lot of firsts with Mr. B. And then later on, I saw him on Facebook, and he was on oxygen.
Oh, wow.
And I got a hold of him. I said, Mr. B, man, you know, I'm making something that you need. And I sent him some. And I've been sending it to him for 2 months, 3 months now, going on 3 months, I think. He sent me a picture of a bunch of beans that he'd gone out in his garden and picked the beans and snapped the beans and jarred the beans and put them up. And then he went for a walk up to the post office and back. He said he hadn't done that for a very, very long time.
Able to go for a walk.
Yeah,
So
and he doesn't use his oxygen that much. Now, Mr. B is a man of very few words. He'll only tell me things like, works great.
That's good.
Okay.
That's 2 words
But,
instead of 1.
but I get reports back from his nieces who call me Uncle Puff, that they think that this FECO saved his life. They thought he was on his way out.
Really?
Yeah.
And it's brought him back. He would have loved to have had a chance tonight, but we just couldn't fit him in.
Yeah.
But
We'll
maybe
get him on.
next time we'll get
Yeah.
him on,
Yeah.
because he has an absolutely compelling story. This FECO has brought him back.
Yeah, well, the thing that we talk about with the oil is not only is it managing the particular symptom, but it also supports other body systems
Right.
because of the entourage effect. The FECO is full extract cannabis oil, which is, and I'll let you kind of tell really quickly how you make it. But
Well,
And what is it for people that, a lot of people don't
Don't know.
understand what that means. We talk about FECO a lot lately, but what is FECO? Is there,
Well, FECO is full extract cannabis oils versus Rick Simpson oil, which is more of a wash. You'll take your cannabis and you'll suspend it in alcohol. Rick Simpson used naphtha to begin with.
yeah,
We don't
which
use
is
naphtha now.
yeah, we use food grade.
Right, food grade, Everclear only. And you know, you've probably seen they put this Everclear in. It's only in there for a few minutes of wash, and they take it back out. That's more of a Rick Simpson oil.
Right. So your process.
so what's the difference between a Rick Simpson oil and a FECO? What you're doing?
My process is utilizing the whole plant. I don't just wash it for a short period of time in the alcohol. I take the whole plant, I put it in a machine, I put the herb in, then I put Everclear in, and I seal it. I hit the button, it heats up to 160 degrees, and it cooks and stirs all of that cannabis for 4 hours and extracts all of the medicine out, and then there's just dregs down the bottom of it straight out. We have ultra pure, high pressure filtration. We really keep that stuff clean.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have over 40 years of measurement and control instrumentation experience.
Yeah.
I built laboratories around the world, and I made those laboratories and I supplied those laboratories with glassware to instrumentation. So my laboratory is full of instrumentation. Over
Yeah. I know.
$12,000
I
instrumentation.
saw a really cool video you did. It was
So
good.
when we take the FECO, we take the dregs out. We have the tincture. That tincture is around 28% normally THC, with whatever CBD is in with the herb. Now, it gets, again, the better the herb you get, the better that you're going to get in the end. Just like when you make a meal, the best ingredients.
Yeah.
and the best
Organic
results.
versus non-organic, or
Very
same
much
thing.
So, very much so.
Right.
But after that, we take that tincture and we put it inside of another machine. It's a green machine. And that evolves off all of the Everclear. It heats it up and evolves it off. But once that Everclear is off, we have to turn the temperature way down and let it sit for days and evolve this alcohol very, very slowly.
So you slowly evaporate the alcohol off.
Very slowly.
Okay.
And it comes off, and once it gets to a consistency that I can determine by refractive index that it's reached that point, I'm good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I've taken your oil, and it helps me a lot.
One of the guys that was
And,
kind of, you know, a little on the fence took it the other night, and he said, Todd, he says, I woke up this morning, and it's the first time these old bones haven't hurt like this since I can remember.
Yeah.
So what are some of the symptoms or diseases or disorders that some of the people that you're dealing with that are using the FECO? What does it help?
Well, even the nurse that called in tonight, my golly gosh, I've never heard of that condition.
Oh,
That
right,
was
the
in,
reason.
isn't that
The
insane?
I mean,
Yeah,
That's pretty, and that's only doing a one rice grain at bedtime.
just one little bit.
And then everything else she's taking is non-intoxicating in the daytime.
hey girls, this is pretty amazing.
From an
story
8,
to me.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
huge, from a pain of an 8 level down to a 3.
She's a
Right?
pretty amazing
Oh,
woman
what a little
anyway. She's
spitfire.
lo-
Mwah.
lovely,
We love
I
you,
know.
Sue Carroll.
You know, I know I'm making good stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So, so let's talk a little bit about the Freedom Rally.
Okay.
We've got, what was
Hey,
your,
Pablo.
yeah, we, the Freedom Rally, we hung out
Mm-hmm.
and
time.
we got to talk to people, right? And what did you think about that? Because you've been around the block, right?
Well, maybe the younger people won't like what I'm going to say, but none of them know anything about Question 4. And when my good friend Ed DeSosa stood up on the stand and started to address the crowd about expungement, which is important to me because I have a cannabis record.
Yes, you have a legal record for cannabis,
Yeah.
right? So and we have a video that we can show too, possibly. It's a great video. Mike Maloney, he's running for district
Superman,
attorney.
Superman.
Yeah, we'll
He's
get that
gonna win.
video ready. And let's
Elect
talk about
Mike and his dog Yoshi.
talk about expungement.
Yes.
Tell us the story about what happened with the law, and what what happened?
Well, my first cannabis arrest was when I was 16 years old.
There's been a few then.
Several, dear.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. This was kind of Mr. B and I and a bunch of my friends had gone up this canyon in Idaho, just across the border from Utah, and we put a bunch of plants and seeds, and we didn't know to plant one plant and take care of it and to judge whether it was male or female. We're just kids.
Yeah.
So he was going up there, and he was a bit older than me, and all these people were going up there, all these friends. One day I said to my 17-year-old friend, I said, hey, let's go see my plants. Come on,
Yeah.
go up the canyon. So we go up the canyon, it's down this little gully, and he looks up and he goes, Todd, there's somebody up there with a jungle suit on taking pictures.
Yeah.
I said, what? And he said, yeah, there's a guy with a jungle suit on taking pictures.
Oh my
So
God.
we must have looked like two deer. We stuck our heads up over that gully, and this guy pops out from behind this bush in full camo.
Full
with
camo?
Full camo, mask, gloves, everything, with a Colt 1911 45 pointed at us. Looked like I could stick my whole finger in there.
Oh my God.
Oh boy, the jig's up. Come on up out of there.
And that was it.
That was it.
And then the record continued.
Well, this is more amusing. It gets better. They put the cuffs on us so tight that we couldn't even hardly, our hands turned blue. It took them 2 hours to get up there from the police station. We were way up in a canyon. They didn't have keys.
And this is all because you had a little bit of cannabis?
Yeah, well, it was crappy cannabis too.
Gee,
But then they took us to the adult jail, and they put us in that adult jail. Upstairs at the top of this adult jail. Now, this is a podunk town in southern Idaho. There wasn't anybody in there but us. And they didn't feed us for 3 days, or 36 hours. And finally, Cache County Sheriff come and picked us up and took us home because they had incarcerated juveniles in an adult jail.
Oh, wow.
And they weren't going to prosecute, and they didn't. So I'm a kid, a little worried about it. Anyway, go up to the Franklin County Fair in Preston, Idaho, and walk into the Franklin County Sheriff's Office, and there's this big damn display about 6 feet tall, about 4 feet wide, and about that thick, with all my damn pot pressed in it.
Oh my God.
And up above it said, Franklin County Sheriff's Office is hard on organized crime.
Oh, and so you're the
I'm
organized.
the organized crime.
Oh man.
17-year-old kid. Yeah. But I
Scary.
want to tell you, when I did get cannabis arrest later on, I was treated like a pariah. We were a small group of cannabis users then that we would hang with each other tight because in Utah, that was, man, I was 19 years old. I sold an ounce of cannabis to a cop. I will never forget when I was sitting in the stand and the judge goes, 5 years in the Utah State Prison.
Wow.
I was
Holy
19.
shit.
And
Oh
I
my
was
God.
melting in a puddle. And he waited about 10 seconds and he goes, suspended with a year in the county jail. Now this is a podunk little jail, okay? We all knew each other. Everybody knew each other. We'd wore our street clothes, we hollowed out our heels, filled it with cannabis, they'd lock the door at night, 10 o'clock at night. We'd sit back in that jail and just get so stoned.
Oh man.
It was crazy. We were in there for cannabis and using cannabis in there.
Let's pull up Mike, okay? Because Mike, I'm one of your fans. What can I say? And I'm not a really big political person at all, but when something means something to me, I feel the need. And here it is, cannabis. I never knew I would become such an advocate. I never knew that I would become politically conscious. So we have a video of Mike Maloney, and he's going to be making a big difference on criminal reform. He also supports yes on question 1, and we're going to put that video up now.
Elect Mike and his dog Yoshi.
Hey everybody, this is Sherry from Green Nurse Show, Cannabis Radio Network, and we're here at the 2018 Boston Freedom Rally. I have one of our guests that is going to be coming on October 3rd.
I'm really looking forward to it. Hey guys, my name is Michael Maloney. I'm currently running for Suffolk County District Attorney. The election is on November 6th. I'm running under a responsible, progressive criminal justice reform platform, and I'm really looking forward to October 3rd.
I'm looking forward to it too. And what we are in the industry here is game changers.
That's right.
We are the game changers in the industry because we are advocating, we are educating, and we are completely diminishing reefer madness. Because what is it all about? It is about living your best life, a high quality of life, in peace. right?
Well, I think it's also about removing the stigma that surrounding a lot of individuals that get pulled into the criminal justice system. There's a lot of individuals that are dealing with addiction right now, Sherry. A lot of individuals that are trying to break the addiction from pills or from heroin, from needles, and have used cannabis in conjunction with other exit drug strategies that are still stigmatized in the judicial system. So that's actually part of the platform that I'm running on, a very progressive reform where individuals, like I said, that are nonviolent offenders but using cannabis in conjunction with other strategies to break addiction, they will no longer be prosecuted the way they currently are. It's a very aggressive, progressive reform, and I'm proud to be part of it.
And I am proud that you're a part of it, because what it is all about in nursing terms is we're bridging the gap between what patients aren't getting from traditional medicine. We're doing the entourage of care. It's all about teaching total health care.
Total health care, that's exactly what it's about.
Right?
That's exactly what it's about, yeah.
And one of the cool things that we talk about on our show, which is a little hokey, but the bio, psycho, social, spiritual aspects of healing, using cannabis as a tool.
Well, it is a tool. It's been around for thousands of years, and I think, like I said, the stigma is really starting to go away. I've been proud to be a part of the industry for 8 years now. Seem like I'm dating myself when I talk about it that long, but
You are.
guys, again, it's my name is Michael Maloney, Suffolk County District Attorney candidate. Please vote November 6th. Please learn more about my platform at dasuffolkcounty.com. Sherry, I got to tell you, I'm really excited about October 3rd. Thank you. Thank you to your listeners. Thank you for affording me the opportunity to talk about my platform. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and we're signing off the game changers of the industry. All right, we're back. Mike Maloney, right? For Suffolk County District
DA,
Attorney.
right. So
Right.
get out and vote in November.
He will be on our show on Wednesday, October 3rd. So you're going to have to watch then. He's going to have
My
a lot
birthday.
Oh, that's her birthday. We're going to have a party. We like presents. Even though it's her birthday, we're kind of connected. We're partners. So I'd like one too. A FECO cake. Wow, how awesome. Rice cream size at a time. Before, we only have we'll get like 10 minutes left, and we still have a lot of information to cover. But Dale and I have been invited.
We've got some events coming up.
We have. On September 27th, Revolutionary Clinics is going to be opening up in Cambridge.
Yay, grand opening.
110 Fawcett Street, and the ribbon cutting's at 4 p.m., but Dale and I are going to be there at 2 p.m. So we want you to come in, and we're going to be doing a meet and greet, a question and answer session, and basically we can, if you want to speak to us, you can pull us aside, and we'll do personal mini educational sessions as well in private.
Right. So we're
Right.
looking forward to that.
We're really
Yay.
looking forward to that. It's going to be
Yeah.
fun. And then at 4 p.m., so Dale and I will be there. At 4 p.m., the ribbon cutting. Then there's going to be a food truck. And there's going to be our Green Nurse Group digital caricature artists that will be there. They'll be doing artwork all day long, and they're fun. So please join us on September 27th. Another event that we have, I was just invited to, I'm really excited, is one of our sponsors, Reliable Bud. They have an event on September 29th at the Spencer Fairgrounds. The theme is Flower Power, the 70s. Puff and stuff fits right in, right? Yeah, I'm going to wear my Flower Power stuff. And Dale and I have been invited to speak. They're having a CBD speaking session. And so we'll be talking about cannabidiol, and our favorite obviously is full spectrum, and we're going to really get into why we feel certain things are really important when you're looking for a CBD product.
So what to look for, because there's a lot of junk out there, so.
Yeah. Before we get to the next event, I want to just talk about some other things about the Green Nurse Group. And, you know, we are a nonprofit right now, and we have the capability of raising money. And there is smile.amazon.com. We're a charity on there. So if you shop on Amazon, you can go on smile.amazon.com, sign up, and a percentage of your
Purchases.
Yep.
It doesn't cost you anything.
Yep.
It just automatically goes into the Green Nurse Group
And-
to help
and-
other patients that
Yeah.
can't afford consults.
And also that pays for things that we normally can't do as well. There's you know, there's a lot of times that we're called upon to do things that I just can't say no to.
Ever.
ever. But it helps pay for stuff like that. You know, I went and saw someone at Mass General, and and that was a 2-hour visit, an hour ride in, an hour ride home, and that's expensive. So it goes to pay for things like that. Also, if you have a birthday, there are a few people out on Facebook, and we just want to say thank you very much. I'm not going to say your name to respect your privacy, but Facebook allows you to have, donations. You can have a fundraiser, charitable event. If it's your birthday, instead of taking presents, you can collect money for a charity, and we'd be very grateful if you collect
Happy
for
to
us.
take your money.
But basically, the money goes to serving the underserved, and so we can bring a lot more to the community. So that's that. Then we got Garden Remedies. We were invited.
Garden Remedies,
right?
yeah.
What's that
Another
doctor's name?
opening.
She's awesome. You met
Dr.
her?
Moncasey, yeah.
Dr.
Moncasey.
Moncasey.
She's lovely too. She is. She's a very nice lady.
And didn't she? Isn't it the first
Woman run and physician and
Yeah.
woman owned, and it's
Yeah.
really a great place.
So
It's
they-
a very intimate setting.
Yeah, they have a place. They're opening
They
up
have they have an opening coming up.
in Melrose.
Yeah.
And the Cannabis Radio Network crew will be there. Donald from the Barrett Report, Jake from Your Average Joe Grow,
Yeah.
and of course Dale and I and Jody and our digital caricature artist will all be there for the grand opening.
It's going to be a great event. So
Yeah, they basically they are their hours of operation are Monday through Saturday from 10 to 8.
so they're open now in Newton.
They're open down in
By
Newton.
appointment only, so you
Yep.
can call up to an hour before and make an appointment to go in. It's a very nice, intimate setting, very personalized service.
And if you use your CRN Insiders card, and if you have information about that, please message Cannabis Radio Network. We have a CRN Insiders card, and if you use that card, you get 10% off your purchases. So be sure to join us on October 12th is the tentative date. We'll confirm that next week. But in the meantime, we have a little clip. I was at the 2018 Boston Freedom Rally, and I got to go visit the guys at the Garden Remedies tent. So we have a video to put up, and as soon as that's ready, you guys can put it right on.
And why?
Hey everybody, this is Sherry Tutkus from Green Nurse Radio. I am here at the 2018 Boston Freedom Rally in front of the booth, one of our special sponsors, Garden Remedies. You've heard us talk about them before on Green Nurse Radio. They are one of our sponsors, and they're opening up a new dispensary that we will be at on October 12th, correct? Right. So I have the guys here. They're going to introduce themselves. And as we know, we do Green Nurse on the Go, which is teaching people how to live their best lives, also working with patients to share their stories as a part of their healing, and which also brings hope to those listening. So guys, introduce yourselves and just really quickly tell me how you guys work with patients to help them live their best lives with cannabis.
Well, my name is Yongsoo Kim. I'm the senior assistant grower at Garden Remedies.
I'm Chef Blue. I'm the sous chef. I make the edibles.
Ooh, that's nice. So tell us about the new place that is opening.
It is in Melrose. We are very excited. Hopefully we can reach out to more patients this way and spread more education. And yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Awesome. So we're going to all enjoy this day today. We are living our best lives, and I am here in front of Garden Remedies. All right, everyone, signing off. Have a great day. And we're back. So thank you, Garden Remedies. Before we forget,
We have a birthday on the set.
yes, Ken.
Happy birthday.
Cameraman Ken. Happy birthday to you. We wish you the best, and we thank you so much for working with us and helping us
All your
to
hard
bring
work. Yeah.
Yeah, you do a great job, and we're very grateful.
Next week.
We
We're so excited
Darren,
to have Darren and Amy
Miller
coming back live. We cannot wait to see them.
Yep, they're going to be on the Barrett Report on Sunday night. They're also going to be on our show next week as
Yeah.
well, and they're going to be doing some filming. They have a book that's coming out, and we're going to help promote that book. Amazing stories. Darren Miller is a stage 3 MS patient, and he also had cardiac and lung cancer,
Yeah.
which is unheard of. He's the only man walking around on the earth today that has talcum baby powder in his heart. And he was diagnosed 3 years ago, and full extract cannabis oil, or Rick Simpson oil, a version of it, which we'll talk about next week, basically saved his life. He's cured. And if you want to check out his page, please check him out. We've got a ton of videos on him. He's going to come on the show. He has the most powerful story. His wife, Amy, is absolutely lovely.
She's so lovely.
Yeah, Amy, we love you. Mwah. And I'll just tell you that these are earth angels.
Yeah.
Right? They're making a big impact.
So we'll hear more from them next week live, so don't miss it.
And then we have Jody.
Our own Green Nurse Jody, Green Nurse on the go, traveling to Oregon.
Jody's getting on the bus. She's getting on the cannabis.
To visit a medical marijuana processing plant and talk about how we need to keep medical cannabis alive here in Massachusetts. Now that as recreational rolls out, oftentimes the medical programs start to fall off. So she's going there to investigate, which is going to be great. And it's really important. We're going to be having shows because Massachusetts, we have the capability of having the best medical marijuana program in the country. And with your support, we can do that. We have a platform here to make sure that education, that we continue to advocate and educate people, so the medical program does not go away. How did she get to go on a trip?
I know. Jody.
Jody.
So my $100 donation went.
Is that right? So we're gonna end the show. I wanted to thank Sue, Carroll. You're an angel
so much,
for coming on. Really.
And Todd. Thank you.
It's always a pleasure to be with you, and I'm very happy to work with you and proud to be involved with the people, especially that compelling story tonight.
No coffee for me. But we're going to end the show. I'll have to say, did you have something else to say?
No, I just wanted to say you do so much for so many people. And
thank you.
So
and you're going to get your hugs and kisses after the show.
And it's because, the caregivers are very important in the community. So
I like to think that I serve a distinct function.
You do, and we're grateful. Thank you so much.
And as are many, many, many people that you've helped. So.
And I know a lot of people, that you've helped are watching tonight, and people have sent me messages already saying thank you.
That story from the nun. Some of these stories I've never heard before. The doctor's even wild. Dr. Puffin stuff is even wild. I'm not a physician.
It's a persona.
It's a costume, kids. Come on. I'm no more a doctor than Colonel Sanders was a colonel.
So we're going to end our show tonight with the Boston Freedom Rally official after party with Eric Martin and the Cannabis Supper Club. So join us next week. We'll be on with Darren
and Amy Miller.
And we're signing off, and we're going to end the show with a fun video. Thank you guys for joining us. Bye.